Welcome back to Horror of the Worlds, where we talk about horror movies and the influence that they've had upon the world. I'm Curtis Gerhart.
I'm Stephen Miller.
And today is a difficult episode to talk about because, I shouldn't say difficult episode to talk about, but to describe for me personally. So this one is, you don't really need that much history off of it because where there is love for video games, they're going to make horror movies that are based off of video games. So not video game based horror movies, but horror movies that are based off of video games. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like there was no video game for this movie. This is just fun. This is love of technology is pretty much what it is.
Yes.
I mean, when you bring it down.
Borderline tech horror where the tech is video games.
And some of these movies were ahead of their time. Like, it's like when you first saw the cell phone or something like that, or those little intercoms. They made them like pagers, but in Star Trek where they hit the little button, the James Bond, the watch.
With the watch.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like one of the things that a lot of these things kind of help influence other video games or tech on where it's going to head or where it's at.
Right.
So we're going to just jump right into it because that's the kind of history that you fucking need to know.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about the beloved, I don't want to say cult classic because I don't even think this is a cult movie, Lawnmower Man.
This is a select audience for sure. I mean,
which is a horror sci-fi that came out in 1992, directed by Brent, Leonard.
Yeah, this isn't one of those movies like when you watch Dead Alive, you're like, why doesn't this have more fans? Like, this is an easy to love movie. When you watch this one, it is not that easy to love, in my opinion. But if you were watching it at the time when it came out, it was 100% ahead of its time.
With 92, I don't know if I would have been kind of say that 90. Like, so this
we're
one,
talking like with VR technology and shit.
Yeah, so
you know?
That's the thing. I think a lot of we had that VR tech horror movies popping up like in the 80s, and especially in this time frame. Because I want to say even a little bit after this, you had not a horror movie, but also it's a Keanu Reeves movie as Johnny Pneumatic.
Johnny Pneumatic was good, yeah, all right.
But so you have that weird sci-fi fucking. So I mean,
that's
that's the thing. Like the way that things are set up, you could see that this was heavily inspired off of Tron.
Yeah.
Like I don't know which one came out first, Tron or this one. I guess I could easily look that up.
Tron definitely came out before this.
Was Tron in the 80s?
Tron was in the 80s for sure.
All right, well let's look that up if I can.
With how young Jeff Bridges looked, there's no way it was.
Oh, such a young. Holy crap! I did not realize Tron was 1982.
Yeah.
So
that sounds right.
That's the thing. You always had video games kind of influenced.
Yeah, but so fewer in the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
And Lawnmower Man kind of hits that with an innocent character, kind of becoming more corrupt throughout the whole storyline.
You kind of think of if you watch Tropic Thunder, think of Simple Jack.
Yeah.
And stuff so someone with how was it? Intellectual needs, like special intellectual needs or whatever, where he is a gardener that's just kind of the punching bag, but there is a neighbor kid that kind of loves him, not loves him, but like is a friend.
Well, yeah, sees the I guess kindness of it all. I mean, what his home was attached to a church, and he took care of the church grounds. He was pretty much a groundskeeper, and I wouldn't say that he had problems with intelligence because he was able to work on small motors. Yeah, that was kind of one of the things that he excelled at. But it was
he was like autistic in ways.
Yeah,
like, he was just like he had that thing where he hyper focused on, and that was about it.
He hyper focused on it, and watching his character change throughout the whole thing, it to give it credit. This dude had range. It felt like he didn't go fully one side or the other through the whole damn thing.
Which, that's the kind of thing I feel like this movie itself was like how he was. Like, again, I'm saying like the punching bag where we know about Lawnmower Man. A lot of us haven't seen it. Yeah. Like, I've only seen it once.
Okay, so as far as the movie's concerned, the horror is more about what if the technology got into the wrong hands. And this person at first wasn't somebody you thought would be the wrong hands. But as he grew more intelligent with the technology, every time he puts on this headset, it was an experiment by the buddy that loved him. Every time he put on this headset, he would get more and more intelligent. And that's how he pitched it to this gentleman. What was the main character's name? The Lawnmower man's name?
Oh gosh, let me. I think it was Jeff Fahey.
Okay.
Doesn't actually say Lawnmower Man. So you have Pierce Brosnan, which was actually, I was like, wow, he's actually in this movie. Like he actually plays in a horror movie. But he was a doctor, so he was the one that was actually he was doping up the kid. Like so, he was using a drug called like a nootropic, a drug that helped him enhance his ability to with his brain power.
Yeah, the video game through the VR would kind of help him stimulate his brain and kind of solidify the drug that had been put into his body and make it a permanent part of him. But it seemed like as things carried on, the more and more intelligent he got, the more and more unstable he became. Which is funny because if you've heard anything about reports, it's the higher the intelligence, the higher the depression in most people. So with this one, it was the higher the intelligence, the more violent the sumbitch came.
So almost kind of think of, we're both fans of Futurama, when Bender was overclocked.
Oh, yes, it is a lot like that.
Which I'm more than likely assuming that this is what was influenced for that episode.
Yeah, they do a great job on Futurama with
their references.
Just a little change here, and now we have a futuristic problem.
Yeah.
And that's, no, Futurama nailed it with this one. I'm
just watching the cat. She's staring in the picture, so she's looking at reflections.
The horror in this one was minimal. This was more of a sci-fi thriller when I looked at it. I guess at the time it would have definitely fallen under the script of horror. I just know that before this we had things like Alien and stuff like that. And
well, that's the thing. This came out in '92, so we had the 80s,
right,
and stuff. So it was
technology was terrifying. This is why.
But that's the thing, though. I remember these special effects remind me a lot of the original Dune, and not the practical effects of Dune, the special effects of Dune on the shield, their knife fight that they did, where it's just like cubes.
So this was like Reefer Madness for technology to me. It was like, this is the danger. This is the danger, but you end up laughing at it a little bit more. Yeah, the acting isn't the best of top notch, but I thought it was enough to get a single. I had to watch it at least once.
I feel like that's this kind of movie is you have to watch it at least once. And the funny thing is, I can't remember what that saying is. Like once when you actually hear a word for like the first time, you start hearing that word more often and stuff. So that's kind of like what Lawnmower Man is. The moment you watch it, you start hearing more people talk about Lawnmower Man and the sequel.
For its time, it was definitely. I mean, it's almost a must watch. It gets referenced in so many things, and when you watch it, you'll realize why it's referenced. And it's not because it was a blockbuster by any means, but it was peak entertainment.
Which that's the thing. I think with the influences that movie has had, this other movie, I am really freaking shocked I have not seen it. But I've seen The Monster. I think we've all probably seen The Monster, which is, his name is Trickster, because he looks like a fucking metalhead punk, like fucking badass, along with the main character's best friend being an awesome metalhead as well. But we are going into Brainscan in 1994.
Brainscan. Edward Furlong, right?
Yes. So this is the movie that he's actually known for, is Brainscan, and not Terminator 2.
Right. Well,
so people were like, "Oh, get the kid from Brainscan." Like, Terminator 2, that little Cameron movie.
And that's what kind of confused me, because I was, for some reason, because I saw Terminator 2 first, I was expecting Edward Furlong to be kind of like that character, but he plays more of a
asshole.
Well, less of an asshole in this one. Well, I feel like he's much more relatable. I mean, other than the vast amounts of money, the dead parents, and you know what I mean?
I don't think his dad's dead. His mom is dead or missing. His dad is
not there.
Yeah.
He has a buku amounts of money. He has a top-notch gaming computer, and he is unsupervised all the time, yet is not in prison. You know what I mean? Like, he's making proper decisions.
It reminds me a lot of Disturbia.
Yeah.
Because some of the moments, because he is also watching and recording the girl next door changing stuff.
So maybe like not completely innocent, but I mean like,
but
he's not tagging up the side of a wall or some shit like that, you know?
Like I say, like he's like an asshole in this one because he is that outcast because he is a horror fan. So him and I want to say his best buddy is the leaders of the horror club at the school. And stuff, which is fucking awesome.
What was the movie that they were watching? I
think it was Death. That was the name of the movie that they were watching. Like, why are you watching this? Like, there's like no story, you know. It's just like just pointless fun, or like not pointless fun, but it's just like pointless. Like
choosing clear you would not have the ability to show these at school for so many reasons. But that's what made it so great to me. I mean, I'm like, yeah,
early '90s, you kind of get away with it,
repping the proper community.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's so. Again, I'm going to end up showing a picture of Trickster, so because this is something that we all have seen, regardless if you've seen this movie. I've seen Trickster before I even knew about this movie.
Really, this is like usually when you watch a monster movie, it's the big reveal of the monster, right? We've talked about that before, but with this one, it's what made me want to watch it more and more because I don't know, it's probably those sunken-in eyes and the sharp-looking teeth and the crazy-ass hair. Like
he's like more of that punk friend and like from like Sammy Kerr from Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
You know, like Trick or Treat, like he was that 80s hair metal-esque. I shouldn't say hair metal because that was dudes looking like chicks, but the 80s
leather-clad, troublesome,
more the 80s Aussie kind of time frame compared to this one is more punk. He has a mohawk, fucking just badass.
It's like an evil Drop Dead Fred.
Yes. Honestly, all right. So since you brought that up, I just watched Drop Dead Fred for the very first time, like last weekend or two.
That is a gem. That's a childhood gem.
I could definitely see why people love that movie so much.
Yeah.
Came out the year of my birth.
Oh, that guy was like he was punk as fuck. Like in real life, the way he chose his roles.
Was he?
Yeah, that guy was. He was a badass dude, and just Drop Dead hilarious.
I could definitely say, like, I mean, he was a character in that movie, so you can. I know I'm.
Damn cat.
Like Poe is still staring in the glass, the plastic in the frame. She'll do that. She'll be like in the mirror. She'll be staring at the mirror, watching everyone. Like she is like the perfect creeper.
Oh.
She's not even staring at me like it's. But yeah, no. Drop Dead Fred is a definitely must watch, and it's definitely a cute, very dated movie as well.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. With Phoebe Cates.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the guy's name because I watch his comedy all the fucking time, but it's his reactions that I remember. But
Brainscan.
with Trickster, that's kind of his whole thing is it's like a genie, right? Mm-hmm. You make a wish and this guy kind of flips that wish on its head. And what made this movie stick out to me is when we were kids, you remember signing up for 99 cents or whatever and getting all those fucking CDs and shit like that. That's kind of what this kid does with a video game.
No, yes and no. So one thing that was great about this, like this is a horror fan's horror movie because him and his buddy are reading Fango. And his buddy tells him, Fangoria, is reading the magazine. He's like, "Oh, check out this video game. It's called Brainscan. You know, it's like the scariest, most terrifying game you ever played." So this kid, since he has money or whatever, he ends up calling, I think it's like the 1555 Fear, something like that. And this disc
the X-ray
comes.
Glasses on the back of the fucking book.
Yes. So he ends up plugging the disc in the tower for the most part. And you don't really know what's happening. So this is before you meet Trickster. So like,
it comes with a harsh warning. Mm-hmm. And what is it? You have to when you play this game, you have to finish it.
Yeah, and there are 4 discs to this game series, but so you have to watch a serial killer kill. So you're pretty much in the serial killer's steps, and you have to follow along with his movements.
Yeah, it's like an FPS, only you're Voorhees.
It's very much oh god, that one movie, my brain is just fucking shot right now. Not History of Violence. That one that is just like the ASMR walk in the woods, where it's like fucking. I fucking hate that movie so much.
Oh, it reminded me of the Jalo. What is it? Is that what it is?
No, the movie that just came out last year, and everyone fucking loves it because it's like it's like watching Friday the 13th video game, but in a movie form.
Oh yeah, in Violent Nature.
In a Violent Nature, so
I liked it.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
But it was, but because it shows it from the killer's point of view, right?
Yes.
So it's got the killers. That's what I like so much about that movie. But yes, it definitely. That's how the video game plays out for sure. Is you're a killer going into a house and making sure you kill your victim.
And later on, Trickster comes out and is saying, "Play disc 2." For the most part.
But one of the things that has been left out is this is more of once again a VR like setup. Mm-hmm. So you smell smells, you hear the sound, like there is fully involved. Like when you take off the headset, you feel like you lived.
There's no headset.
Oh yeah. All right.
He sits in a chair, and then it's this new technology where they could transfer this.
With Lawnmower, man.
I wish I would have written down. The structure of how they framed the sentence of the new technology that they're able to push in the info
the brain waves,
and all this cool, actually really cool.
It kind of reminded me of the Riddler on Batman Forever, right? How he stuck that thing onto your forehead and then he stuck it onto the TV screen. And
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. It's just soaking all of the information. It's all junk information, but
information nonetheless.
Information nonetheless.
But I don't know how far I want to get into this movie because I miss 94. I feel it's okay to spoil.
I feel like you need to watch it anyway.
Yeah, this is a definite watch. We won't kind of tell the whole ending, but he ends up having to play he ends up coming across that these murders from the video game are actually happening in real life.
Yes.
Which is actually kind of frightening. So he puts in a disc 2 because there is a witness and he has to get rid of the witness.
Yeah, disc 2 is getting rid of the witness.
So it's kind of cool. Each one has its own thing. Each one has its own. After each disc, there's not a reward. I think it's like pretty much a reward you have to take. So the first one is a foot that he amputates and puts in the freezer for the safe place, whatever. And that foot is in his freezer, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" And after disc 2, it is his best friend's necklace in his Lucky Charms.
Yeah,
almost cuts him. Is in the in the fucking freezer.
Yeah. Kind of little trophies. You can almost guess how this movie plays out.
Yeah.
But that's not what makes it so much fun. Really, to me, what makes it so much fun is the character of the Trickster. Mm-hmm. I feel like the movie. I mean, Edward Furlong, great movie. I mean, he made this movie amazing. And this is you don't even like movies with child actors and shit like that too often.
Well,
and this one was pretty much carried because of Trickster, though. I mean, the dynamic between the two, especially if you, like me, saw Terminator 2 first, you knew that kid was going to be a punk ass little kid, and he was going to be the only thing that combats somebody like the Trickster. You know, had a little
like
pushback.
A kid movie though.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. You're right. But
like, it's like watching the high schooler.
Yeah.
Or the older kids playing high schoolers, because the chick that he's watching that's in high school is obviously over 18 because you see her tits in the very beginning.
Yeah, they definitely didn't hold back on this one. This was like, 90s still playing off of 80s.
Fucking love the ending on this one. It's a little fuck you. This movie itself is pretty fucking punk. Even the soundtrack. I think you have Butthole Surfers. I think there's Primus. I think in it as well.
Yeah.
Like, this is a solid soundtrack, solid movie. If you're a metalhead or a horror fan or video game fan, this is a must fucking watch.
That's
if
something,
you haven't watched it yet.
Something you look for in some, like, at least back in the day when you're watching movies or playing video games, you're like, this is gonna have a badass soundtrack. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, bitchin' soundtrack, right? And when you're watching things like Idle Hands or Brainscan, you're definitely looking for that sick soundtrack.
I think that's one of the things that kind of makes these movies stand out a little bit more. It's either a give or take. Sometimes it'll make a shitty movie even better because it has a banging soundtrack, or that banging soundtrack might take away from that movie.
They did that with Dragon Ball Z. So the difference between Dragon Ball Z in Japan and Dragon Ball Z in America is, I mean, not only the dubbing, right, but they also had a soundtrack, like with
Oh, you're talking about like the movies,
the TV shows and the movies. Yes,
that-
yes, no, mostly the movies. The Brawley in particular. There was a yeah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is they put Pantera in the American version, and it definitely
man, I
made
have
it a
not.
little bit more sick. I mean, when he started powering up and Pantera dropped, you're like, oh, all right, this is gonna be good.
I could probably see that. Oh man, I that's actually, I'm surprised I haven't seen any of the Broly movies. I just remember with the Lord's, I think it was the Lord Slug or the Cooler movie. They had just started playing and stuff, and I love that when Goku went under the water and actually was muffled the song. I'm like, you could do that?
That's pretty cool.
Because I was young watching, like, what? But yes, watch this. Watch Dragon Ball Z.
Watch all of it. Enjoy the soundtrack.
So
I mean, the Cell would also be one of those ones you could bring up. It is.
I don't remember the soundtrack at all. In
No, I'm not the soundtrack, but the technology. It almost has.
Yes.
It almost has that VR kind of setup. Only it's like a whole suntan booth.
But you're
VR
going into another person's brain instead of an actual video game.
Yeah.
Or you're going into a serial killer's.
Yeah, but your real body, you're pretty much
suspended and like held up by like fishing wire. And that
swear to God, Futurama touched on that one too, just a little bit. It reminds me of the part where Fry meets his grandparents or meets Professor's grandparents or parents.
Yeah, I was thinking that one or
uses them as batteries.
when the planets were getting destroyed because of the oh gosh, I can't remember, Nibbler's race was looking for the car alarm, and they had to go in Nibblonians. But then they had Fry strapped up and into like he had the diaper on, and they only had so many days left.
All right,
but I don't know.
The Cell was definitely one of those ones where technology it's still ahead of what we got now for the most part. Really, it's how we make movies, but it's not how we play video games.
But I think it's coming closer to that, though. I mean, we are getting more into. I mean, isn't that what a video game is, especially VR?
What are those suits? They got those suits just like Ready Player One. Yeah, they have those, and they have the 360 treadmills.
Yeah, like which of those treadmills are actually a lot better, where you can actually move around and walk a little bit more. Still way overpriced.
Soon there's going to be a lot more realistic heart attack warnings on your video games.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Same here.
Horror video games are going to be fucked up.
So I almost feel like this movie was, I almost want to say influenced off of Brainscan. Like, I don't want to say it's by no means directly influenced, but is eXistenZ, which every time I read it, I always think of existence. I mean, you read that, you see existence.
Absolutely.
But so look up eXistenZ with a Z, but it's eXistenZ. And it's directed by David Cronenberg.
The great.
So I want to say this one came out in 96. This one came out in 1999. So 5 years later. But this is definitely a Cronenberg movie where it is
the grotesque body morphing.
Body morphing, the sexuality in this one, because this is definitely like that. You could peel off like just like that weird, just that feeling of sensuality and sexuality in this movie. So the basic thing is a new video game developer is showing off its new game with a pretty much like a LAN. So like a LAN style part, like show off. So like a LAN party is, imagine you're playing live, but you all had to be in the same room or same roof.
So this is how 007 was played back in the day.
I remember playing Halo and stuff. You had 2 Xboxes, 8 controllers, and 2 TVs.
Yeah. And
it's connected by an Ethernet cable, and that was pretty much a LAN party. But they were like almost at a church-esque. So imagine like the stage is up and you have people actually sitting around. But they were at a LAN party style with this weird organ like gamepad. I'll try to show you an image of this so you kind of. That was like one of the game controllers.
That is gross. That's fucking awesome.
And
it looks like it's an Xbox remote.
Yeah, where is it at? Like that is like the controller that they're showing off. I'm going to show images up here. So you have this, and this connects into, if I'm not mistaken, like the back of their head. So this gets into a virtual reality, and you're just seeing them diddle this very flesh-colored sex toy
Quite
in a
fleshy.
way. Like it is, and it moves around and it's like very lifelike. So it is, like I said, Cronenberg in that way. It is very. If you're watching it with your parents at a young age, you would feel so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh God, I can
tell. But it's also, if you have watched one of Cronenberg's more later movies, Crimes of Future, where he's actually regrowing body parts and he's just constantly moving and they're ripping out body parts and stuff, because I think he's selling those parts on the black market or something like that. But this movie felt a lot like that. It was just like that, what he does best, that Videodrome, body horror, dysmorphia, just fucking weird, wet grossness.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's in the spine. That's what it was. It was in the neck. It was like the base of the spine and stuff. And it is...
Yeah, that doesn't sound dangerous at all.
Mind you, it also looks like a butthole. So you have this plug that's
it's
very...
like a gore concert in a movie form.
Dude, yes. So that's almost what it looks like. And you had to plug this weird phallic thing into this little butthole on the bottom of your spine. And then you are all kind of connected, and they played. So it was very, like my notes, it's like, it reminds me of like the sex scene in Demolition Man. Like when Sandra Bullock and Sylvester Stallone actually put the head put on, like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
So they end up helping this one guy that's supposed to be protecting the main chick. The main chick is like the developer of this whole thing and stuff, and he ends up getting a bootlegged injection thing, so his butthole is all infected and like oozing.
A new form of STD.
Quite literally. So when you actually plug in your game console, your actual fucking pod thing, into something that's infected, it will actually infect the game console and actually corrupt it and fuck it all up.
Awesome.
So
it's like putting cheat codes in, only worse.
Dude, it is. So
cheat codes have dire consequences.
This movie is so fucking out there. It is so much fun to fucking watch. If you're able to get your hands on it, it was streaming on YouTube for a little bit, and then when I started watching it, they took it off. I own a copy though.
Oh, good.
Thank God for Vinegar Syndrome's. But dude, I feel like I could talk about this whole movie and it won't really ruin anything, because it felt like if you were playing Elder Scrolls like Oblivion or something like that. I say Oblivion because that's the last Elder Scrolls game I played. As they would kind of start saying, it's like real life started to feel more like a game, and game started to feel more like real life, which is kind of true when you
strong disconnect between reality and
which happens when people start playing video games a lot or start watching certain movies, like where they lose even social media. You start losing track of what's actually real, what's actually plausible, and actually your day-to-day life.
Right. Well, the same thing can be said about movies. Just watching them, you got an idea of, if you're not out there living life, you get this idea in your head that things should play out like they do in the movies, and you're fucking wrong.
Mm-hmm. That's why people even tell you, like, it's supposed to be a insult or whatever. It's like, go touch grass.
Yeah, go touch grass.
It's
yeah,
like literal.
That's
like,
a good one.
You just have to kind of go out and do stuff. But this movie kind of ends a little bit like Brainscan. I don't know if you remember the very ending of Brainscan, but if you guys have seen either of them, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. But I feel like I'm going to leave that movie as it is, so you could give it a watch and just be wowed. Like, this is like one of the very few old movies I'll go back to watch, and it's like, this is a masterpiece, and how come it's not talked about?
Oh, because it was at the time where horror was hated.
99, on top of it being as phallic as it is.
I feel like I feel like horror became popular again because they started making it more artsy, or they were bringing a video game into full function real life. And that's what kind of kicked off the popularity with it is, oh, well, we all played this, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, this was more the artsy, and it didn't want to be a video. Like, it wasn't really horror.
I'm saying artsy like A24.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, I only watch this movie with tea and a pinky out.
Elevated horror.
Yeah, elevated cunty horror. I do like those movies, though. I mean,
A24
I love
does an amazing job, but
they're kind of douchey.
Yeah, there's a word there. I can't think of it.
I'm saying it. I'm not trying to get him to say it. I think they're douchey, but I'm all right with that.
But you also kind of get into the day and age where I was more of a teenager and stuff, where video game movies and all this stuff was just exploding so fucking much. You had Game Informer, you had EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Xbox had a fucking magazine.
Yeah.
You know, magazines were a huge fucking thing, and I saw this advertisement over and over and over again. I think this movie came out in 2006. So again, the whole beginning, middle of the aughts is Stay Alive.
Stay Alive.
This is a movie that has so much hate towards it. I don't know why, but it's probably only because I grew up watching this, and that's why I love this movie so much.
Yeah, there's some movies that are like that, man. There's some movies that did the same thing, but with more technology backing it. You know.
Yeah. I don't. Have you seen?
I don't think I've seen this one.
Frankie Muniz.
I've heard about this one. I want to say I wanted to go back and watch it just because I found out Frankie Muniz was in it, and I haven't gotten to it yet.
So this one is another one of those ones that's pretty much got wiped off. It's very, very rarely ever streaming online. If you want a Blu-ray copy, fucking put a paycheck on it.
Yeah.
You might be able to find the DVD that's kind of affordable, but if you're like me, where you have to have the Blu-ray because it's superior. But the overview is teenagers decide to pass an idle time by playing an online game that is horror themed. But the action taking place on their computer screens become a terrifying reality when they realize that each time a character dies during the game, the figure's human overseer dies as well. So pretty much how you die in the video game, you die in real life.
It's like Gamer.
I've seen Gamer once, and
you take control of a fucking prison inmate, and that guy is now attached to you, and if he dies, you don't die, but you actually fucking dies. Yeah.
Prisoner. Another thing I remember is the guy that plays Dexter's dancing at the very end.
All right.
Or near the end. That's the only thing I remember about that movie. I don't remember. That and Gerald Butler is in it.
Yeah.
This movie also has Jimmy Simpson in it, which
it has quite a few familiar faces in it.
That's the thing. I fucking love this. I love this actor and everything that he kind of plays, and he's still kind of that weird, perverted guy. And this one, I think he's kind of honing in his perversion in this movie.
It's super creepy looking dude. Absolutely.
He is. Like, he almost reminds me of, I wish I could remember the guy's name, and I wish I could remember the name of the movies. So I'm just gonna edit that part out. But yeah, this advertisement was fucking everywhere. It was another one of those things like where you just kind of felt that video game community. It felt like Grandma's Boy, but done in a horror version and stuff. So I was kind of almost hoping that this video game would actually come out in real life. Same with the video game in Grandma's Boy. I think it was like, was it Demonic?
Yeah, Demonic. Like it looked like it was supposed to be a Predator or something like that.
And that's the thing. The game was supposed to come out. I think Predator. There was a Predator game that came out on the 360 or on the Xbox that was pretty much like that game. I remember reading it in the fucking magazines. But this game was actually going to be made in Grandma's Boy, but the Grandma's Boy was supposed to be advertisement for that game.
Oh.
Much like how The Wizard was advertisement for Super Mario Brothers 3.
I wonder why it canceled out then. Because I thought maybe it was Grandma's Boy gave away too much of the game or some shit like that. Or
no, it just
didn't hit as hard.
Just funding or whatever, I mean, they do that with companies, movies, and video games all the time. Like where it's like the video game's done, the movie's done, and the company went under, or it was bought from someone else, and they don't want it to advertise another company's movie or video game or whatever.
So they just love that movie for that reason. Man, yep. No, I get what you're saying.
But so
you wanted to be able to play the video game in the movie, which
would be fucking perfect because I felt like that would have been a great game, just like a prototype. I think kind of was like for the 360 and the PS3. I don't know if you remember that one where it became like almost Venom-esque, where you could actually kind of scale buildings and then develop new abilities that are just like symbiote.
No, I really like that one. They had 3 of them, something like that.
I know they had 2. I have only played the first one.
Is the one that I played.
Which I can only assume that they've gotten better.
Yeah, the powers, from what I understand.
But I know we kind of rushed through those movies, but that's the thing. Those movies have gotten, that whole virtual reality has gotten so much into all these movies where even Black Mirror has even done one like where Anthony Mackie is actually playing online, where it's like a VR Mortal Kombat, and he's actually living out his sexual fantasies with one of the Mortal Kombat characters, where it's actually another guy, or with with where he's playing. I think Mackey's playing a female, and he meets up with a guy and stuff. Where it's just
Love
that whole sensation. But that's the thing. Mortal Kombat, with a new movie coming out here really soon. The original Mortal Kombat and Annihilation, I fucking love. Even this remake that happened 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's taken them this long to get a second one to come out, but
I'm hoping that they're taking time for a reason.
Waiting for it. Yep.
But even Mortal Kombat games are having horror characters.
Yeah. It feels like they're rekindling a lot of our old school games. I feel like they could be putting a little bit more of a horror touch on it, like Twisted Metal. That's one of those ones I feel like could have. Like, they have a TV show now, but it could use a little bit more horror. Like, Twisted Metal Black was my favorite one because it had a creep factor.
I was going to say, like, I felt like Black, because I haven't played Black, but the advertisement always felt like it was more, as horror-based as a car shoot-'em-up game is.
Literally every scene felt it had a gloomy overtone. Like, it was really, really good at that.
Sweet Tooth being evil.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he was always kind of evil, but he was
explained
evil.
More of the storyline with that one. Like, you actually worked at unlocking the storyline for each character, and it made it a little bit more fun and enticing. I feel like they could do the same thing with Mortal Kombat. They should add a little bit more of a horror factor. But I feel like I'm getting a lot of that with the movies. So I think it's nice that it's got a...
With the video games, they have the characters, and you can actually play horror movie villain characters, which is always kind of fun seeing their fatalities and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You see the gnat around here that so often?
No. It's Ghostface up there. He's in the new Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah. But I think they're officially done releasing DLC for this Mortal Kombat, and they're waiting for like the next game to come out. I'm actually excited for the new movie as well.
It's really hard to find movies based off of gaming situations.
That's horror based.
Yeah, that's horror based. Yeah.
So I mean, you always have like Ready Player One, which is not based off of a video game, but also is based off of video game.
Yeah, or Pixels, which is definitely a direct reference to certain video games like Ready Player One, and a certain time frame.
Yeah, so I mean, let us know if there are any movies that you know of that we didn't talk about or even mention. I guarantee there has to be at least a couple more.
Oh yeah.
Or at least something that's probably more recent, but. Yeah, I know there's a lot more virtual reality ones, which I would love to actually do a virtual reality episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, virtual reality based one, not where it's virtual reality for you. You don't need to see this whole apartment yet. You know, there is one person I would not mind playing Stay Alive. Granted, the more you play Stay Alive, the more psychotic you get because, like, if everyone's dying, like, then you start tripping out and all that stuff. Kind of like Mirrors kind of was, or I feel like 13 Ghosts kind of was. Like, those weird... you felt like death was happening to you, just trying to trip you up. But this is one game I would love to play with Bridget, and I hope I would try to booby trap her and make sure she fucking dies, because I'll just sit there and watch her die on her own.
Fucking Bridget.
Fucking Bridget.